Welcome to Hitman Strikes Back Daily Boxing News. So we just had the kickoff press conference for Usyk Fury 2. Now, despite there being no back and forth between the fighters, neither guy really said that much, I still found it quite interesting and entertaining. Usyk turned up dressed like Hitman from the video game, black suit, red tie and a briefcase, his head shaved bald. Tyson Fury turned up in a check suit and a baseball cap. Dev Sani, who was asking the questions, tried to get a bit of back and forth going, but neither guy was going for it. It was in stark contrast to the first press conference between these two, where Tyson Fury was extremely aggressive, where he was going out of his way, above and beyond, to try and intimidate Usyk. This time around, there was none of that. Fury realizes now that the mind games don't work with this guy, so he'd just be wasting his energy trying it again. Usyk didn't say much, partly I think because of the fact he doesn't speak much English, but also because I think Usyk quite enjoys a lot of the banter elements. As I say, he turned up dressed like Hitman from the video game, and he was behaving like that. Not saying much, but he just had this wry smile, this cheeky grin on his face. Oftentimes throughout the press conference, whenever they asked him a question, he'd give a short answer or a one-word answer, and then be smiling to himself afterwards. It was quite funny. Usyk really controlled this press conference, I want to say, and Tyson Fury was following him. Towards the end, Tyson Fury started copying Usyk's approach and giving one-word answers as well. And there was an interesting moment in the press conference where Dev Sani asked Usyk what was in his briefcase and what's up with the outfit. I can't remember exactly what Usyk said about what was in the briefcase. He might have said, "I don't know," or "nothing," or whatever it was. But anyway, he eventually opened the briefcase and he produced a couple of prints, as in photos on paper, of the first fight between himself and Tyson Fury. And these were snapshots of Fury getting cracked with a big left hand. And he took them over to Fury's table and asked Fury to sign them. And Fury, being a good sport, he did sign them. And then Usyk took those photos back to his desk and put him back in his briefcase. It was very strange, but it was funny. This was actually reminiscent of some of those press conferences in the 1970s involving Muhammad Ali. That's the feeling it had. It was like a fun atmosphere. Ali press conferences were usually fun, and that's what this one was like. And Usyk doing that, was it some type of mind game? I don't know. Maybe it was. I found it funny, whatever the case may be. Now, Usyk is always confident. You don't achieve what he's achieved in his career without being so. But you could see that his confidence had gone to a next level still in this press conference. He absolutely was oozing with it. And when they had the face-off, Usyk thoroughly stared Tyson Fury down. There was none of the theatrics that Fury tried to pull last time. As I said previously, Usyk had the eye of the tiger and was staring into this man's soul. Fury tried to break the ice by doing the little rib tickling routine that he's often done with previous opponents, but Usyk weren't going for that either. So they broke off the stare down, went their separate ways, did interviews and what have you, and that was that. Now, one thing Tyson Fury did say during the press conference is that Usyk won fair and square. Now, this is in stark contrast to what he said in other interviews where he basically makes out as though he was robbed. And in fact, after this press conference, he went on in other interviews with some of these YouTube channels to reiterate this idea that he won the fight. But again, at the press conference, he said Usyk won fair and square. Another thing that Tyson Fury said was that he always stops people in rematches. And I get it. If you've lost the fight, you have to come up with something to build your confidence off of going into the rematch. So that's what Tyson Fury's doing, talking about the way he performs in rematches. But if you cast your minds back to the first fight, Tyson Fury was telling everybody that whenever these cruiserweights move up to heavyweight and fight the elite big guys, they always lose. That's what he was hanging his hat on first time around. You guys remember that? And yet, how did the fight turn out? He can't hang his hat on that anymore, so he has to find something else. Therefore, it's this rematch thing. But if you look at it, yes, Tyson Fury has done better in rematches, but who has he been rematching? John McDermott, Derek Chisora, and Deontay Wilder. With all due respect, none of those guys are in Alexander Usyk's league as far as ability, ring IQ, conditioning, so on and so forth. Fury was saying that he doesn't think he needs to change that much. He just needs to be a bit sharper and a bit more focused, and he should get the job done in the rematch. Well, judging by the look of him, unless he doesn't actually intend to go through with this fight at all, then Tyson Fury is going to be a lot more aggressive next time around. And I I say that because he's clearly a lot heavier than he was for the first fight. First time around, he weighed 262 pounds. That was his lightest for 5 years. Whereas right now, to my eyes anyway, he looks at least 290 pounds. So he would have piled on about 30 pounds since the last fight. Now, obviously, he's got a 10-week camp ahead of him. Maybe he'll take some of that weight back off. But if he intended to come in as light as he was the first fight or somewhere close to that, then surely he would have kept his weight down a bit so he doesn't have to lose so many pounds during training camp. So again, presuming he intends to go ahead with this fight, I'm expecting him to come in significantly heavier for the rematch. And I think that that will be strategic because he intends to fight a more aggressive and more physical fight. And I think that that will be the best approach for him. I think it's a mistake to try and box Alexander Usyk. I think Derek Chisora showed the blueprint of how to beat him. You have to jump on him. You have to rough him up. You have to take him out of his comfort zone. Tyson Fury's done that with a small fighter before in Steve Cunningham successfully. I always said right from day one before their first fight that Tyson Fury would need to do the same with Usyk. If he does that, I think he's in with a shot. This is not like the rematch between Dubois and AJ, if that actually happens. No, that was a one-sided drubbing first time around. Whereas with Usyk and Fury, Fury had enough success in the first fight to make winning the rematch realistic, at least in my mind. I'm not picking him to win, but again, I think it's far more of a possibility than AJ beating Dubois in a rematch, because AJ just didn't have any success other than about 10 seconds, whereas Fury went the distance with Usyk, and he did do damage in those middle rounds. Usyk is the favorite, and rightly so, understandably, but he's still dwarfed by Fury. He might be, 60 pounds lighter than the Gypsy King second time around? I mean, it's an enormous amount of weight to be given away, especially to a younger man, a much taller man, a rangier man. It's crazy. With that type of size advantage and age advantage for Fury, only a slight age advantage, but it's there. I'm certainly not counting him out completely. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the press conference. I enjoyed it. Again, reminiscent of some of those 70s press conferences with Muhammad Ali. Two very charismatic fighters here in Usyk and Fury, particularly Usyk, I think. And if this rematch does indeed go ahead and there's no pullouts, then I hope for a completely conclusive result where there'll be no need for a trilogy match. That's what I'm hoping for. Some people want a trilogy between these two, but personally I don't, because the heavyweight division is stacked with talent right now. We don't have the time to indulge in an unnecessary trilogy between Usyk and Fury and risk missing out on other really interesting matchups. So I hope it's done and dusted this time around and the heavyweight division can move on once and for all. Those are my thoughts. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you like this video, share it, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out.